I said this last week. I think it's something to do with plants or something, but my little things going round. But I'm going to just carry on talking. So, hello. Oh, it says I'm going live somewhere, so that's a bonus. And welcome to the Living Life Being Human show with me, Jackie Jones. Ow. Oh, I just trapped my finger then. This isn't going that well, is it? Which is quite interesting because that's the topic of this week's Living Life Being Human show. What do we do when things don't go according to plan? It says I'm going live now, but that could have been a bit of a mishap and I've just trapped my finger, which isn't according to plan. So I've just given you a perfect example. I've decided what I'm going to do on these lives is to kind of muse about my last week and what's been going on and seeing if I can think of a topic to cover in my lives every week. And the decision for this title is because I've dodged COVID for 2.5 years. I've managed to evade, avoid, escape, whatever you want to call it. But last Wednesday, I tested positive for COVID, which was not in one of my plans. If you've been following me, you will know that I'm currently going through chemo, which is why I've got my wonderful wig on. I don't know whether you can see, but there's not a lot, well, no, saying there's not a lot of hair under there. There's bugger all under there, to tell you the truth. So I did mention it last week that I'm gonna, I've got 2 wigs. This is one. It's kind of a bit like a bob, but I don't think I suit it around my face like that. So I'm pushing it behind my ears. So I've got this one and I've got another one that I might wear next week. I've really toyed with the idea of coming on here au naturel with my little bald head, but I've not plucked up the courage enough to do that yet. Maybe if I get enough likes and comments, then maybe next week I'll come on au naturel and frighten the bejesus out of you. But as it stands now, I've got a wig on. So yes, I tested positive for COVID on Wednesday, and that's not good because my next chemo is supposed to be on Thursday. But that's not going ahead now. It's been postponed a week. So my next chemo is now next Thursday, which means that's twice they've had to postpone it. Once because my white blood count was not up to par. I've worked really hard to try and get it up to par. And then I caught bloody COVID, which there's a couple of things that kind of tweaked my interest. I've been working with the 3 principles now for quite a few years. So I just get curious about my reactions and my responses to things. So when I tested, I literally had a sore throat. That was it. And I thought, oh, I've just got a cold. But because my eldest is catching a flight on Friday and going abroad for a well-deserved holiday away from me, God love him, I thought, well, I better just test just in case. And then it came back positive. And my immediate reaction was doom and gloom. Literally, my heart sank. I wasn't expecting it. And then all this rush of thoughts came. I'm going through chemo, my defenses are down, my immune system's shot. Oh my God, it's going to be horrendous. I'm going to end up in hospital. And it's just catastrophizing thinking all over the place. And it probably lasted for all of 10 minutes before I kind of, gave myself a bit of a metaphorical slap and thought, well, you just thought it was a cold 10 minutes ago until you got that result. You just thought you had a sore throat and it was a cold. So nothing's actually changed other than that little piece of plastic with the 2 little dashes on it and says something different. And all of a sudden, all that catastrophizing, that overthinking, all that irrational thoughts about all the doom and gloom and how bad this was going to be just faded away. And I'm now on day 6. It's a week tomorrow. I'm still testing positive, which is an absolute bind. I'm going stir crazy because I've not been out of the house. Even though a couple of times I've thought I'll just pop to the shop before my son's reminded me, you can't, Mum, because you're still testing positive. It's like, oh, yes, I remember now. I've got COVID. But nothing. I had a runny nose for a couple of days. I've had the sniffles. I think Wednesday I kind of lost my voice a little bit. But other than that, I've been absolutely fine. Now, I know for a fact if my overthinking had carried on, I would have felt a whole lot worse about the whole situation. I would have continued to have negative thinking. I would have felt a whole lot worse. My symptoms probably would have been worse. My mental health and my state of mind would definitely have been a whole lot worse, but it's been absolutely fine. So that's the first example of when things don't go according to plan. The second one is that my chemo has been cancelled again, which, postponed, not cancelled, which again is just knocking everything back for me. I'm anybody that follows me knows I'm a very logical person. I like a plan. I'm very rarely spontaneous. I usually have an A, B, C, D, E, F, probably right through to Z, and I know what I'm going to do. So all my week was geared around getting ready for chemo, having chemo on Thursday. My wonderful friend, the oxygen chamber, on Thursday and Friday. My son was going to take me to chemo and pick me up. All that's had to change now because my son's flying away. So I've now got to try and get hospital transport, whatever that means, to the hospital and back again, which is absolutely fine, not bothered about it, but that's not what was meant to happen. Which means I'll probably be back late on Thursday, which means I'll not get in the oxygen chamber. It sounds really bad, that, doesn't it? It's a hyperbaric oxygen chamber on Thursday night. So I'm going to have to do Friday and Saturday instead. And the knock-on effect of just this one thing, again, could have thrown me into absolute turmoil. And it did for a while. And I suppose during the week, it has sporadically, I've gone, oh, crap, kind of thing, but it's gone. So what can we do when this happens? Because life will always throw us a curveball. Life, somebody's got a plan for us, but it's often not the plan that we've got for ourselves. So often things don't go according to plan. My first response to this is to just go with the flow. I'm getting a lot better at going with the flow. If things change, whatever. One of my favorite sayings is that nobody died in the making of this, and it's not harming anybody, so it's absolutely fine. But when we think about it, every event that happens to us, every life event, is kind of neutral. Now, I'm not saying bad things don't happen. You could theoretically think that me catching COVID is a bad thing. I could think that me catching COVID is a bad thing. I can think that winning the lottery is a good thing. But the reality is everything is neutral until we give it energy. For some people, winning the lottery might not be a good thing. If somebody, I don't know, has an addiction of some sort and suddenly has all this money, then, winning an awful lot of money can be seen as a bad thing. I think statistically, there's an awful lot of lottery winners end up right back where they started from. I'm going to cough, sorry. And a lot of lottery winners, if they're asked, would probably say it was probably the worst thing that happened to me. I gave up work. I ended up getting divorced. I sold my house. I lost a lot of my friends, blah, 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 blah. So the actual event is neutral until we give it energy, until we decide whether it's going to be a positive thing or a negative thing, or whether we're just going to allow it to stay neutral. And I think that's one of the insights that I had this week, that my thoughts about an event, whether that was COVID or my chemo being cancelled, flipped from being quite positive. That's okay. I've got another week. I can, build my strength up. I can do lots of things before I need to go and have my chemo and it kind of knocks me for six again. Or I can think of it negatively that, oh my God, it's knocking everything back a week. And what does this mean? And how is it going to be? And yada, yada, yada. Same as the COVID. I'm really lucky that for 2.5 years, I've managed to avoid it. And again, really, really lucky for me. I think the strain that is doing the rounds at the moment is just mild cold symptoms and nothing major. So that's a really positive thing. Yes, you can think that it's negative that after 2.5 years, it's caught up with me. But the reality is everything is fine. And I think that works, for us as human beings across the board with everything. We always have a choice whether we look at things positively or negatively. And if we can kind of step back from the event and just look at it for what it is, as in an event and it's just neutral, that's going to help us massively with our state of mind, with, everything around that event. We have the power of thought. We have the power to pick and choose which way we're going to look at things. And that's the way that I'm deciding to live my life now, to just go with the flow, see what happens. Don't overthink it. If I do have moments of overthinking it, just allow myself to do it, but just notice the thoughts. Thoughts are like buses, they come thick and fast. What normally happens when we're overthinking is we hang on to one thought, we put it down and we pick it up again, and we just, focus on it and think the living daylights out of the one thing, when we don't need to do that. So that's my little gem for tonight for you. I've put up posts on pretty much all of my Facebook and social media things, just a thread, ask me anything. And that's what I'm going to do on these lives every Tuesday, is to answer any questions that you've got. Obviously, I will keep it anonymous. I'm not going to name anybody. If you want me to name you and give you a shout out, then I'm absolutely fine to do that. But the majority of people would like to keep it confidential, which is fine by me. So I have been asked one question about how to remain positive when workers are stressing me out and I am acting out of character, which kind of leads on quite nicely from what I've said. The first thing is that nobody can make us feel anything, whether that's our co-workers, whether it's a partner, whether it's our children. If I said, oh God, my son's just stressed me out so much today, the reality is he hasn't stressed me out. There's nothing that anybody can do that can cause me to feel a certain feeling. That's down to me. It's my thinking about the thing, or it's your thoughts around your co-workers, what they're doing, how they're behaving, that is creating your feelings. Everything comes from our thoughts and our thinking about things. So really what you're doing is you're handing over that power to your co-workers to be able to make you feel anything, whether that's ecstatic, sad, angry, frustrated, stressed, whatever it is. Nobody has the power to make us feel anything. It's our thinking about that person, that thing, or that event that causes our feelings. And all our feelings come from inside us. And often our feelings are just a barometer of where our thinking is in that moment. So if you're feeling stressed, that's because you're having stressy thoughts about something. Same as what I was, exactly the same about the COVID test. When it came back positive, I immediately had that whoosh of fear, scare, anxiety, whatever you want to call it. But it was my thinking about that test being positive that caused that wash. It wasn't that test. My son looked at that test and he didn't have the same reaction. If it was the test that caused it, then everybody that looked at that test would have a similar reaction, and we don't. So again, it's kind of like why I led on the beginning of answering this question with what I've been going through. Even though I've been working with the 3 principles for years now, and I'm a qualified psychotherapist, I still get tripped up by life events. I still have that immediate reaction to something. What is much more helpful for our mental health, our state of mind, and all that sort of stuff is when our awareness comes into play and we respond to things rather than reacting. I always think as a reaction as being very emotive. It's kind of emotion fueled, and it's that first instant hit that we get before we can kind of take a step back from it and look at it for what it is and think, actually, this isn't that bad. With co-workers or, relationships or family or friends, whatever it is, we have a choice on how much headspace we give that communication or that interaction or that event with that person. And to be perfectly honest, I would much rather focus my attention on the good stuff and the positive things rather than letting it eat away at me. Because, you know, rightly or wrongly, fortunately or unfortunately, your co-workers will just be carrying on doing their job, regardless of how you're feeling. They are maybe completely unaware that they are stressing you out. So they're carrying on their day absolutely hunky-dory without a care in the world. And you're quietly sitting in the corner. This is just my story that's going on here. You're quietly seething, sitting in the corner thinking, I don't like this job. I want to find a new job. I can't stand being around these people. They're just winding me up. I'm so stressed all the time. This job isn't worth it. And there's all those thoughts going on when there doesn't need to be any thoughts around that. You know, if you're in employment, then I'm imagining that's because you need to be in employment. You need a job. And the job that you're in means that you get paid at the end of the week or the month, and getting paid at the end of the week and the month means that you can pay your bills and you can go shopping, and you can hopefully at the end of the week or month have some money left to go out and to socialize or to buy something nice for yourself. Without that job, none of that stuff's going to happen. So maybe it's about you looking at things from a different perspective and seeing why you're working, why you're in a job. Maybe not that job, and I'm not saying if it's not right for you that you don't look for anything else, but while you're in that job at the moment, I would, you know, love for you to start to look at things much more positively, so that if you do leave that job, you're not leaving on bad terms, that you're leaving on a positive note rather than feeling negative about it. Because that negativity will always be around those people, that place of work, this time in your life. And that's just heavy stuff that we don't need to carry around. So I hope that's made sense. I've put links on this again for my Sort Your Shizzle Out. It's going really well, and I've had a couple of really good reviews about this. I've got a red one, a pink one, and a black one. Where's my black one? My black one's over there. If you can see my black one over there, that's where my black one is. And they come in hardback and paperback, which is quite nice. I've done some colouring in, and I've done some filling out in mine. I'll just show you what I've been doing, just so you can see. It's yours to do whatever you want. You can colour in the pages. That's my wheel of life, which is quite a nice thing to do. It looks at health, career, personal growth, fun and leisure, love, friends, family, and finances. As you can see, my health is not very good at the moment. It's quite low down, as are my finances, because I'm not working at the moment, which is one of the reasons why I put this on Amazon, because I might post a picture this week of all the medication that I'm taking in a day, all the supplements that I'm taking and everything else, and it all costs money. My wigs cost money. So if you want me to carry on looking beautiful like this, please feel free to buy one of my Sort Your Shizzle planners out on Amazon, or just like and share my posts so that other people can see it if you can't afford it, because I know that things are tight. I think this is $12.99. But anyway, there's the Wheel of Life, and there's also some permission slips that are quite nice that I coloured in and made it pretty. What else have I done? I've done a bit of I did a thing, this is what else is on there, where you can colour it in again, and you can put your diet, what you've eaten. I ate a smoothie with apple, spinach, curly kale, flax seeds, protein powder, and after it, my blood was number 6, just in case you're interested. And for tea, I had tuna, cucumber, and curly kale in a pita bread, and my blood was 7.9, which is not good, so I'm not allowed pita bread anymore. There's also how many cups of water you had. I did actually have more than 2 there, because I filled that in just after lunch. And my 2 journal pages for that day, where I've even done some pretty little pictures. That's me talking about having COVID. So I drew a little COVID bug, a little green COVID bug there. I'm talking about some grapes in the garden, so I did a picture of a grape. I made a carrot cake, so I did a picture of a carrot as well. I'm quite enjoying drawing in mine. It's the first time I've felt able to draw in something. I don't know whether it's because I produced it or not, but it feels quite fun to colour in and get in touch with my younger self, just colouring pictures and doodling in my own book. Right, I've gabbed on for long enough now. So please, if you see one of the threads about asking me questions, then feel free to ask me any questions and I can answer them on a Tuesday. And other than that, have a fantastic week. And I shall see you all back again next Tuesday around 7 o'clock when I get the hang of sorting all this out and doing it properly so that I'm on time. I'm getting better, to be fair. I think it was only 7:05 when I was on today. So other than that, I shall see you all very, very soon. Take care. Bye. I've got to try and stop this now. What am I doing? I need to end my live.